Part 2 of my favorite roll and write game of all time is on Kickstarter right now.
Also, it's already here, and we played it, and we're gonna tell you what we thought about it. It's 1135, not the time, but the year. King Henry has just died. His daughter should be the heir to the throne, but she isn't because King Stephen is the man, and we're for King Stephen, right? We're gonna protect him.
You're for King Stephen? That's what you said?
I didn't say anything.
When all of that does not matter, because in this roll and write, you will have a bunch of resources, use them to fill these sheets and build the most badass engine that you can. And when you fill these sheets, you get more resources.
So this game, as you already figured out, is super historically accurate.
Nah, it's not. But it's super fun. Or is it? This is a competitive game where after 5 rounds, we will see who has the most victory points. And you can get these victory points from...
everything.
Kind of everything. You have some objectives, you have some fields to fill, a lot of things will give you victory points.
You can also lose points if you don't defend your castle. Matilda is attacking you. She's the one who wanted to be the queen, but Stephen is our buddy, so she's mad. And she's gonna be attacking you each and every round, harder and harder and harder.
And you using your resources will be able to build fortifications for your castle. But before you can spend these resources, you will get some info about where and how you're gonna be attacked. So will you use them to protect the castle or will you use them to build your economy? That's a tough question.
And there are other tough questions that we'll answer, so stay tuned for bam 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 Anarchy Review. What are the best things about this game? My third best thing about this game is going to be the castle defense. It can be fun, it can be frustrating, it can be all of these things. You know some of the info, but not all of it. Do I leave more workers to defend against the things I don't know? I don't know. I do want to spend those workers on these things, but choices. When it's actually built, it looks really great. But it's just a small bonus.
For me, exactly the same thing, just combat in general. Because I agree with everything you said, the combat is the thing that's always on your mind the whole round. You're just thinking constantly, hey, how can I protect this? I don't want those minus points. Also, the game invites you to attack this time. There's this row of cards where you can get some extra resources or victory points if you attack. But it costs a lot to do that.
It does, but if you fall behind and don't attack the castles of Matilda, Stephen's gonna be angry.
Combat's a really big emphasis here, and it's fun. So number 2 are the solo scenarios. You can play this multiplayer, where you kind of compete with each other and then compare the scores. You also will have really small interactions, but the best way to play it is solo scenarios, which is this campaign book.
There are 20 different scenarios that essentially are the variants of the base game. See that deck right over there? Essentially, most of it is just for this. There are different cards, different castles you can attack. It makes the game way more different each time you play it.
How I play the game is multiplayer. Everybody plays at the same time, but we use the solo rules, meaning we set up the game as it says there and play at the same time the solo rules. New challenges, and then when you win something, you get some resources for the next round. So each game will be different. And the best thing and why I enjoyed this franchise...
Before your opening, I think we're gonna match 3 for 3. Let me get mine.
3, 2, 1. Infinite combos.
Oh, damn it. Yeah. So it was a good run. We had a good run.
Why I love Hadrian's Wall franchise in general are the combos. Whenever you pay something, you unlock something and get new resources that you can then use elsewhere. Almost feels like an infinite loop. You still have a turn. You have one resource. How long will it take? I mean, he will be done, right? And then he pays it, opens up this space, gets 2 new resources, those multiply in more resources, only halfway done with his turn. And you can start out from just a little bit and get big.
It has so many choices, especially the first few times you're gonna play, it's gonna feel overwhelming. That's the biggest and most fun part for me in this game. This is what you get. What are you gonna do with that?
And everything. I will do everything here. So let's jump into some specifics about the game.
Complexity is 3.5 out of 5. It's not an easy game to learn.
Components are really great. 0 problems with anything here.
Setup time is average. It's not too quick, but it's not too long either.
Rulebook is great. Had almost no questions after reading it. Didn't even need to recheck it really.
Player count, doesn't matter. You're playing all at the same time.
The problem with this is interaction. There's almost none. It doesn't exist.
No. Playtime, around 90 minutes, but it depends on how long the people you play with think.
Price is 41 euros right now on Kickstarter, which is great for the content and the game that you get. Really good pricing.
And there is some luck in the game. The luck in the game is gonna come down to the cards that you get when being attacked, and also resolving some actions. You will draw random cards from your own personal deck that might go your way or might not, but you know the approximate directions.
But why this game might not be for you?
Because they don't have 41 euros.
Yeah.
It does feel like filling out a huge Excel sheet. Some people, when they see this, they're not gonna go like, wow, this looks exciting. But trust me, it is.
For me, it's the right sheet. The problem with this one was it felt samey, these things, a lot of them. I played tons of the first game. The right sheet felt more varied. A lot of these things do the same thing, which means you fill out these boxes and then you have to turn around the card and check one of these lines. And depending on which line you're checking, you need the number to be bigger, smaller, icons on this side or this side. And they are different, the things you're looking for are different, but the action is the same. And for me, it felt like this whole side is very samey.
So I'm gonna jump in with this one is, this might not be for you if you already own Hadrian's Wall. It's very similar. It's practically the same game.
Well, then I will go with this, Expectations. As I said in the intro of the video, this is my favorite roll and write game. I had high hopes for this because I played Hadrian's Wall so much, and I thought this is gonna give me new sheets, new mechanisms, new solo game mode.
Which it kind of did, didn't it?
It did, but it changed so little and played so safe that I just don't feel enthusiastic. There's nothing really like bad about it. There's not that cherry on top.
But take note, he has played a ton of Hadrian's Wall. If he would be coming into this fresh, you'd probably love this. There's no interaction here. Doing our own thing, that's why the solo campaign works with multiple players, because we're still playing solo if we even aren't playing the campaign. The interaction comes, are you done? Not yet? Come on, man.
Well, the opposite is true as well. If you like Euro games where you build your engines and you don't want somebody to take away your precious resource and that ruins your combos, then this is totally free.
Yeah. And the last one is, it is a longer roll and write. It is not your average clever Welcome to, Cartographers, or other of those which are great games. This one's gonna be up to 2 hours, especially the first time you play. It's a long one. Let's move on to the best alternative.
The best alternative is what he said. That's what I said. While Janis is thinking about what he's gonna write, I'm gonna just go out and say, well, Hadrian's Wall. Hadrian's Wall is much quicker to set up. It's just 2 sheets. Quickly get out all the resources and give some cards to people. Here, setup takes much longer because it's a beefier game. The combat is beefier, left side of the sheets is beefier, more resources, everything. The systems and resources are really cool. It's not as quick, it takes more table space.
You done?
Yeah.
Because I'm not.
You done? You're still not done. This sheet is super lovely, great. It has brown background, white squares there, and it's also wood, bread, money.
What's the most obvious comparison?
Twilight Inscription.
Twilight Inscription, that's why it's very small right there. But Earth. I get the same feeling in Earth. I have a ton of these things, and I want to do these things, and I can get to these things by doing these things like that. Okay, does that make sense? You have a lot of options. This game gives you a lot of options, and not a lot of games do that. For example, my favorite game, Dune Imperium. It doesn't give you a lot of options. You're kind of narrowed down, so you have to make the best of it. Yeah. But here, you're like, and in Earth, you're like, I have a ton of cards. I love that feeling. I don't feel like I'm squeezed somewhere. Here's your world, live in it.
Let's move on to the final ratings. And who is it this game for? 3, 2, 1. For me, it's fantastic expansion.
Well, for me, it's also fantastic, but I have to explain why. So this is my favorite book of all time. Pillars of Earth is my favorite book of all time. The time where it happens, I'll quickly read you a couple of passages from here.
Thank you for watching the video, and thank you to everybody who supports this channel. Also check out our merch, and we'll see you next week.
And after the credits roll, I get to read the chapter.
You can now read everything you want. Yes, go.
This book is set in England during Middle Ages. Just like this game. Come on, man. I'll be quick, come back. So this book is set during the same time period, St. Valentine's Festival, or Knight's Training. All of these actions just brought it out, memories from this book. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember those characters doing that. Well, as a solo game, for me, it is a must-have, but I won't play it with a lot of people. They won't have that. They don't care for that book. Just as good as Hadrian's Wall, and that might be the problem, because it's like Hadrian's Wall.
Here's more mechanisms, but also Hadrian's Wall was so luring because it's just 2 sheets. You can play it almost anywhere at any time in an hour. This is more than an hour. It takes more setup time, but they compensated with this combat, which I really enjoyed. It was fun. The game mechanisms are amazing.
It's definitely something you should try at one point in your life. And it's on Kickstarter still for a couple of days. It's a very good price for a lot of game. Anyway, thank you for watching. What are your favorite roll and writes that we haven't played? Big ones, really juicy ones? And we'd like to say thank you to all the people who are supporting us and getting that extra video that none of you are getting each month. Wait, you want to get one? It's simple, just become our YouTube member or a Patreon supporter.